Hello all sentient beings and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the... On this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, we review Transformers 84 Issue 0. We got word of a new Transformers online video game, and how will the Viacom-CBS merger affect the Transformers? Today is Friday, August 23rd, 2019, and this is episode 143 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that would like to welcome Simon Furman, or anybody, back to writing good Transformers comics. I'm your host, Daryl, also known as Cybertronian Beast, and I am joined by a relatively good Transmissions team, Yusuf, better known as Yoshi.
Yo!
And Jeremy. He goes by Yakko sometimes.
Hey. How you doing? Let's talk Transformers.
I was gonna say it.
Well, you can say it and have Mike edit it.
Say it. Anyway, welcome to Transmissions, good peoples, and let's start off with a really nice, heartwarming story. We were talking about it earlier in the week with the toy show. People in Arlington, Virginia, a reporter did a story on a young boy, 4 years old, Whitaker Weinberger, and he has survived cancer. And he is looking to his parents, and this reporter are looking to line his street with bumblebees, or yellow cars, really. But bumblebees will do. So if you are interested in helping out, you can send some stuff to him via this reporter. We've got the link and everything like that in the show notes, so you can send it to him. His birthday is September the 11th, and I believe he's turning 4 or he's turning 5.
Yes, okay. He's turning 4.
Turning 4, so he's just a young little gaffer. Send some stuff his way, some toys, some whatever. Just get some, show him that you're supporting him, and yeah, it's pretty cool. He had neoblastoma, so... Yeah, he survived that, and that's usually fatal. So his mom just wants to celebrate his birthday with his favorite thing in the world, which is Bumblebee. So send some stuff his way. The voice actor for Bumblebee on Cyberverse, Mr. Jeremy Levy, has also reached out to Whitaker and has sent a message along as well. But yeah, you'll find the address for the reporter that is taking everything and putting everything together in the show notes. Let's go into some comic book news. We have got a really awesome image to show you, but you got to look at the show notes to see the image. This is Transformers Galaxies #1. This is a Scorpion Comics exclusive cover by Clayton Crain. He is a very talented artist, and he does a lot of work in the Spider-Man universe, mostly known for Carnage or Venom covers. But he's got a lot of Transformers work under his belt, and this Scorpion Comics exclusive is just another one to add to his repertoire. This is a really awesome image of Devastator, and I'm really impressed. I may search this one out, try and get it on... from Scorpion Comics, but yeah, this is pretty awesome.
Looks like they have a web store.
I assume they do. Anybody who's going to do a variant comic book cover should have a web store, right?
Right.
Right. But that's it for comic book news. Pretty light. So we're going to move into our review for this week. So our review for this week is going to be Transformers 84, #0. And it's going to be reviewed by Yoshi. So let's go do that.
It's a classic comic review.
All right, as Daryl said, we're going to review Transformers 84, written by Simon Furman. The artist was Guido Guidi. Colorist is John-Paul Bove. Letterer is Tom B. Long. Production assistance by Amari Ozarid. I know I hacked that, and I apologize. Editors are David Marionette and Tom Waltz. And guys, we were given one cover this week for issue 0. How do you feel about the cover, Daryl?
I think it's pretty awesome. I think if there were multiple covers, I would still pick this cover.
Gotcha. Jeremy?
I think this looks great. This would be an awesome print.
Yes, it would.
Blown up on the wall. I mean, it's just your classic Optimus Megatron battle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great.
Yom-Tov dots.
To me, there's a lot about this cover that invokes early Marvel work with enough, I don't know if you want to call it Guido styling or updatedness to not feel out of place when you look at it.
I think the coloring helps an awful lot. So John-Paul gets a lot of credit on this. I'm assuming he did the coloring for the cover.
Yeah, I'm not sure. In the back, it's just credited as Guido.
Right. But the Yom-Tov dots, that's a big help. But the coloring on this really does make it look a lot more like the original books.
All right, everybody. I know normally Charles and Jeremy do these reviews. I too have my own style here, so I tend to not tell everything about a comic. So when you go out and buy it, it's there's a little bit of a surprise there, but obviously this is a spoiler review. So Jeremy and Daryl, if you want to talk about something I'm not specifically talking about, knock yourselves out. And so we dive right in. This comic starts out just before the events of Marvel Comics Transformers issue 1, with the early construction of the Autobot arc taking place, the one that will eventually take the Autobots and the Decepticons to Earth. Optimus Prime has seemingly conceded that Cybertron is doomed, and now he plans to leave Cybertron on board the Ark, because to him, the real threat at this point is Megatron. Optimus Prime, however, faces opposition from the Cybertronian Council, which does not agree with his assessments. They believe there is still a way to save their beloved Cybertron and defeat Megatron. Optimus Prime, having engaged Megatron in battle before, knows there is no way to make the Council understand just how tough of a foe Megatron truly is. We jump ahead. The arc is now completed. The Autobot crew is admiring the results of their labors, as well as talking amongst themselves about just how dangerous this mission of Optimus Prime's is. In the background, Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus are talking. Prime tells Ultra Magnus, should something go wrong, he is in charge. Elsewhere on Cybertron, Megatron thanks Ravage, who has been eavesdropping on the Autobots and is able to confirm Counterpunch's intel on the Autobots' plan to leave Cybertron on board an Ark. Once the Autobots have exhausted themselves clearing a path through the asteroid field, the Decepticons, led by Megatron, will strike the Autobots at their weakest. It's now the day of the launch. Optimus Prime holds a secret meeting with Punch, where Punch confirms that the Decepticons have taken the bait. Punch is confused, though, questioning Optimus on why he would want Megatron to attack the Ark. Optimus Prime avoids answering Punch's accusation and says, "After all you have done and sacrificed for the cause, Punch, I must ask you to undertake a further tour of deep cover duty. We must never be found. I need you, or rather your alter ego, to make sure of it. Megatron's evil can never be allowed to blight the universe again." Later, the Ark blasts off from Cybertron, shoots its way through the asteroid field, and is then boarded by the Decepticons led by Megatron. You know the rest of the story about the Ark from here on out. So we will jump ahead to 1017 AD. Autobots Cloudraker and Fastlane are orbiting Earth, scanning for the Ark that crash-landed 4 million years ago, when a strange atmospheric disturbance forces the two-man crew to make an emergency landing just outside Stancham Castle. They choose to continue their search for the Ark from the ground. The king of Stancham Castle orders his men out to learn the nature of the celestial omen that came to Earth. Nearby, a Decepticon exploring party made up of Wingspan, Battletrap, Flywheels, and Counterpunch are also on Earth. They are mirroring the search that the Autobots are doing for their Ark. Going over the search data, Board going over the search data, Battletrap, Flywheels, and Counterpunch leave Wingspan to complete his search of the area so they can independently stretch their legs more or less. Not long later, Wingspan finds the location of the Ark and is surprised that it's located here on Earth. Unfortunately for Wingspan, Counterpunch didn't roam that far away and executes Wingspan, saying he cannot be allowed to inform the other Decepticons of his discovery. Battletrap and Flywheels return to their Decepticon spacecraft to find Wingspan dead. Battletrap and Flywheels and Counterpunch believe Wingspan's death is the result of Cloudraker and Fastlane and go after the two Autobots. Meanwhile, Cloudraker and Fastlane return to their downed ship only to find two human warring parties fighting between them and their spacecraft. They know they are not to interfere with the local inhabitants of Earth, but they also need to get back to their ship. So Cloudraker and Fastlane scare off the Viking invaders, helping the Stancham Castle soldiers. With all the humans safely running off to their respective encampments, Cloudraker and Fastlane are attacked by the Decepticons. Though badly wounded, the Autobots are seemingly able to take down all the Decepticons, get aboard their spacecraft, and take off. But Counterpunch cannot allow them to escape, begging for forgiveness before firing a fatal shot at the Autobot craft and forcing it to crash into Stancham Castle. And that is Transformers 84. This was a beautiful book to look at. I felt like Guido Guidi and John-Paul Bove did a fantastic job through. It's a nostalgic book for me. It feels nostalgic when you're looking at it and when you're reading through it. There were even points in the book to me that felt like the original Robot Roll Call of the first few Marvel issues, where everybody had to say their name when they're talking. There was just enough nostalgia not to be boring, and an interesting look at Optimus Prime and his thinking and thinking ahead and doing what is right or what is best for the Autobot race. I love this story. I think at the end, it could have been 2 issues or maybe even more. I felt like there was a lot of stuff going on that could have just been expanded and expanded well, and it would have been fun to read for me. But that's my hot take. Daryl, what did you take from it?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I got to say, it took me about half the way through the book to realize that they were time jumping. And it was confusing. I was like, what the hell is going on in this book? Like they're either on Cybertron or they're on Earth, or who's where and what is happening here. They
didn't do like some of the other books have done, where like the little background is not white.
Or the panels are different shaped or something. So I was confused at that, and I was, what the hell is happening here?
It could have benefited from being longer. I think that would have helped. You wouldn't have so many jerks between different time frames.
Yeah. So like I said, it took me about half the way through the book to realize that this was actually 2 different times. And after I realized that, I kind of went back and said, oh, okay, well, there's that, and then there's that, and then that, and okay. I like seeing Punch Counterpunch in this because he never gets any play in the books.
This is the best Punch Counterpunch story there's ever been.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and possibly Cloudraker and what the other one is? Fastlane and Cloudraker. Yeah. So probably their stories as well. Really, I love seeing these guys who never get any kind of time in the sun. So yeah, I really enjoyed those characters as well. The medieval time frame, sure, whatever. I mean, I'm not really bothered by it. It's something that I guess if they're going to have a time jump and somebody's got to land before 84 to kind of search for them, why not it be medieval times? What the heck?
Well, that's a tie-in to the Man of Iron storyline.
Oh, right. Sure.
Yeah, this is a direct tie-in.
Yeah.
Okay.
It takes place before that.
Okay.
Same castle.
Oh, does it? Oh, okay. Gotcha. I forgot. I didn't remember that. But other than that, I thought the art was fantastic. This is better than any of the art that was in the original Marvel stuff. The coloring was fantastic as well. John-Paul really did knock it out of the park with the nostalgic colors. I wonder, we should ask him whether coloring like this is actually more difficult than coloring the new way, like the for modern comics. but because I'd be interested in knowing that. But other than that, I thought it was a really great book, and I'm honestly disappointed that it's only one issue. So I'd like to see more of these.
Okay, Jeremy, what's your take on this? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. Like we were saying with the Man of Iron tie-in, I knew that going in that it was going to have a Man of Iron reference or tie-in. We were talking a little bit earlier this afternoon about exactly how it tied in, because in the original comic, the Man of Iron was drawn to look like Jazz, kind of a very generic looking Jazz, but as we were talking, we were both like, it's kind of drawn from like hearsay of something that happened hundreds of years ago. So
right.
Who knows? So this is like, I think we said was Fastlane is the one that was in the CR chamber. So he's more likely the one that would have kind of been resurrected at that time.
Yeah.
I think this is a really neat way to kind of play with the 80s series and not have any effect on, the outcome of that series, but you have all these characters that were never in it. And what can we do? And the whole punch counterpunch thing, like I said, this is the best punch counterpunch story ever, probably the only one, but having him kind of be there to ensure that no one discovers the Ark. And then, when the volcano goes off, that kind of blows that out of the water, but that's like hundreds of years down the line.
Not just that, but the fact that he's narrating this whole story.
Who's he talking to?
I mean, not only is this character introduced for the first time, but so much fucking depth and complexity to him. Like, it's just fuck. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, Jeremy. I know I say I vote with my dollar. Like, if when I go into my comic book store, if I can clear the shelf and buy all the copies they get, I absolutely will. Whatever it takes to send a message to IDW that this is how you do it. I hope people do, because fuck, this was really good.
Yeah, I really liked how they introduced Punch in the first, like, telling us, this is Secrets and Lies, my stock and trade and stuff, and kind of he's in shadow. You don't really know who it is. I mean, especially just seeing kind of this much of the character. How many people are going to just immediately right away say that's Punch? And probably a small number of the audience.
I thought it was Nightbeat.
Subtle.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Yeah, you could think it's Nightbeat. And then at the end, you see basically just a little bit more, and it's Punch because it's in color at that point.
To me, I guess I don't know why, but I assumed it was Punch or Counterpunch doing the narration. And what's interesting to me, though, is through the whole book, when he does actually have a presence during the narration, they don't show you what faction he's sporting until the very last, until the very end. So, this could have played out so it would have a different ending if at the end they still didn't show his faction symbol.
Well, I mean, he looks different as a Decepticon. His arms are different and everything.
Yeah, his face is different as well.
Yeah. But, I mean, before this, if you asked me, like, what his most memorable scene was, it would be that one little bit he gets in Rebirth.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
This, I'm so glad that it's kind of a redemption. I mean, and like you guys said, the art is just impeccable. It is fantastic.
It's so much a callback to the early 80s, but I don't know what word to use, like, updated just enough that you're not like, fuck, this is 80s art.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I think in the wider scenes, it kind of more resembles what you would get in the 80s books. But close up, the line art is more modern day, and then the coloring does so much more to make it look retro. Like I think, Daryl, you said with the Yom Tov dots and stuff. But I would say it resembles more of the late G1 more than the early, because if you look at those first few issues, the art is not really the best.
Right.
But you have characters that have hands here rather than their actual toy modes.
And hats off to Tom B. Long for nailing the word bubbles for when robots are talking or humans are talking or a transmission is taking place. Like all of these guys really paid very close attention to detail to their part in this.
And the humans and animals are drawn great, too. It's not just robots. They're drawn great.
I need to get a Man of Iron sketch cover done now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just fucking great.
Yeah, this was definitely a great read. And I love how, like, when they find the Ark, you look on the display there, and then they're showing North America.
Mm-hmm. So you caught that. You had to show that to me.
Yeah. So it's, playing in all of the rules that are already set up, and it's just done so well. I really enjoyed it.
You guys, nobody's going to be disappointed buying this book.
Unless you hate comics.
Unless you hate comics. All right. Well, if nobody's got anything else, that is our review of Transformers 84. And send it back to you, Daryl.
All right. 84, number 0.
Yes. They didn't leave a whole lot of room, though, to do another issue after that.
We could follow what Punch is doing in the ensuing years when he's just all by himself.
He's just hanging out. Yeah.
I mean, he knows where the Ark is now.
Yeah. All right. So that was our review of Transformers 84. And we're going to move on to media news.
Bow, ba-down, ba-bow.
All right. In media news this week, we've got online video game news from ChinaJoy 2019. It's a con of some kind, and I have not read this story, so it's just like any other media news segment. We're getting, looks like we're getting a new PC as well as console and free-to-play game. Jeremy, did you put this in here?
No, Charles, as with all the other topics, Charles put it in.
Great.
But I have read it.
Okay, tell me about this, Jeremy.
It is a third-person point of view Transformers game. So, I mean, I guess that's just like the Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron games,
that's
where
right.
The camera's behind the character. Like you said, PC, console, free-to-play. There's no release date mentioned. This company, Certain Affinity, that's making it, has worked on games like Halo and Call of Duty. We can probably expect a fairly high-quality game. Really, where Transformer games have always fallen short is more the story. Mm-hmm. I mean, War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, Devastation were all great, but they are kind of the few good games in a lot of bad games.
Yeah.
This it looks like they might use Generation 1. I don't know. There's really not a lot of information here on about how it's going to look and everything. So all we really know, it's a third-person shooter based on Transformers.
Yeah. So. They're saying that it is. They're highly suggesting that the game will be based on G1, which would be cool. But like you said, there's really no hard evidence here.
If you look at what Hasbro's doing with everything else, like you got the comics, the Netflix show, the toys, they're all kind of doing some synergy around the whole Siege thing. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't surprise me if this is also the Siege thing, which is also heavily G1 influenced. But I could see the Siege designs being the ones that are used.
Cool. Well, we look forward to seeing what they produce in the future. Now, also, don't go too far, Jeremy. You have a job to do, and it's to explain to me why I'm looking at a topic in this list saying Viacom-CBS Merger, what we know and how it will affect our franchise. Please explain.
Well, Viacom owns Paramount Pictures.
Okay.
Paramount Pictures puts out the Hasbro movies, Transformers, G.I. Joe.
Sure. I'm following.
Viacom and CBS are merging. They originally were one company. They split, became Viacom and CBS, and now they are merging back because they realized that was a bad idea.
Okay.
When companies do this, sometimes they drop things that they own, like the movies they have licenses to. They just let that go. But luckily, it does not look like they're going to do that. The Viacom head, Jim Giannopoulos, is staying on as the CEO. No, the Paramount head, Jim Giannopoulos, is staying on. And Elizabeth Raposo, who is the head of all of the Transformer live-action movies, is also, she's been extended. It is, all signs are pointing to they are still, on board with this. The Hasbro Paramount agreement at the end of 2017 was extended for another 5 years. Although it does mention in the story that the last night nearly brought about the end of Paramount.
Nice.
And then it was Bumblebee was, a much bigger success than they, or it kind of fixed their issues with Transformers. And it fixed a lot of our issues with Transformers on the movie side. But Hasbro has Allspark Pictures and Allspark Animation, and they are going to be working with Paramount for content under this new relationship. There's going to be 2 new G.I. Joe movies, Micronauts movie, Dungeons and Dragons, and Beyblade.
Oh.
This is just, I don't know what they've announced, but, it can all change. But they have, with the success of Bumblebee, we can be assured there's going to be Transformers movies, as well as there's rumors of a potential live action Transformers and or G.I. Joe movie or TV series. I don't really think a live action Transformers series is feasible.
You get one transformation a season.
Right. It would be all about the humans. But they have, I don't know if Paramount is involved at all in the whole Netflix series, but I could see them doing something maybe for the CBS All Access streaming service. Maybe animated, hopefully animated. But this also mentions that CBS, or they own Showtime, the network, and then there's a Paramount Movies, or all of the Paramount Movies library is going to be available to Showtime. So that includes all the Transformers and G.I. Joe stuff. So basically, this merger doesn't mean anything bad for Transformers, but we also don't really know exactly what's coming up. I would say if Bumblebee didn't do well, it would probably have been the end, but thankfully they got a good filmmaker to do Bumblebee.
Lucky for us.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. We'll have more news when it comes out, but the sky is not falling.
All right. Well, with that, we'll move on to our donations and merch. Yes, we moved it. One of our Donatreons has increased their pledge this week, so thank you 4x11GD for doing that.
You know who you are.
So thank you very much for doing that. And if you want to be like 4x11GD, do it. You don't need anything from me. Just do it. You can also go to our Patreon shop. And I guess it's not really a Patreon shop. It's just our shop. You're going to buy all our stuff. TeePublic. Yeah, that's where it is. TeePublic shop. Buy some shirts and some other shit there. But you can also visit our friend K-Girl's store there. Superstar K is her username on there. And she's got a whole bunch of cool stuff up for sale there. And just FYI, TeePublic is having a 35% off site-wide sale on August 21st to 25th. So $13 tees, $33 hoodies. I guess that's a good price. I don't really buy a lot of my own clothes. So there you go. With that, we'll move on to convention news.
Bow, ba-dow, ba-bow.
All right. We have news about the 11th annual C.O.N.S convention in Germany. This is C.O.N.S. This is in Koppinghaus, Josef House. I don't know if that's right, but it's in Germany. I can be sure about that. It has a Transformers trading card game area. It's going to have toys. It's going to have cosplay contests, and it's going to have John-Paul Bove and Jack Lawrence, both artists from IDW. John-Paul Bove worked on the book that we reviewed today, Transformers 84 number 0, and Jack Lawrence has done work on Lost Light. But he's done a little bit of fill-in work on the new series, hasn't he?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think I remember he did part of an issue, but I'm not 100% sure. There are so many artists on the new series. I can't remember who did what. I know Andrew Griffith did some, but I thought Jack Lawrence might have done some too. But he also did the Star Trek Transformers crossover. If you go to this, meet them, say hi, ask John-Paul for a ham, and let us know how the convention went.
Mm-hmm.
Over on this side of the world, TFcon DC has announced David Sobolov, who was the voice of Depth Charge in Beast Wars, Blitzwing in Bumblebee, Shockwave in Transformers Prime, and Grodd on The Flash. This is awesome. This really makes me want to get to the convention. So he will have autograph sessions. Not sure if he's going to be on any panels. It doesn't mention it here, but still, he's awesome. And this will be October 25th through 27th in Reston, Virginia, near DC. And TF Nation has just wrapped up, and we have a report about the animated season 4 panel, or kind of the voice acting thing or script reading that we mentioned a week or two ago. They did not allow any recording, according to the agreement that they had. But we have some information on what season 4 would have been like for Transformers Animated. And this is thanks to Marty Eisenberg, who was a guest at TF Nation, and obviously one of the main creative forces behind Animated. Parts of this were Sari was not one of the protoforms in the series. She's something else. Ultra Magnus dies and named Optimus Prime his successor, so Optimus Prime moved actually into the leadership position. Ratchet and the other science bots build a Power Master suit. Ironhide and Jazz join up with Team Prime. Rat Trap, who is named Rattle Trap, is Megatron's defense attorney. and I guess there's a court arc. An Optimus who is using the Power Master armor. Like, he uses that. They have Trypticon. Apparently Trypticon is a prison. We see Omega Supreme versus Trypticon. So it seems like it would have been really crazy and awesome. And I think we have the 07 movie to thank for killing Animated. Mm-hmm. But really awesome that they got to do this. And I really wish that they would have done like we see all these canceled TV shows doing further seasons in comics. I wish we had gotten that with Animated. But that is all of our convention news this week.
All right. And with that, we're going to finish up the show with some feedback.
Bow, ba-dow, ba-bow. And you too can leave us feedback by heading over to transmissionspodcast.com/feedback. There you can leave us a comment, you can leave us a voicemail, you can leave us a YouTube post. We've got everything. Anything you can leave a comment on, we've got it listed there so you can do it. We've tried to make it as easy as possible. Today we're going to Discord, where Dinobot Maximize asks a question. Do you guys think Yoshi and Daryl's love for the original Transformers comics has set the bar too high for IDW to reach? Jeremy?
Yes.
Okay. That answers your question.
I'd like to rebuttal on that.
No.
My feelings towards the original Transformers comics are not great. I am not a huge fan of them. They are not great comics in my eyes. They are nostalgic, but that's about it. The art is not my favorite. Not until close to the end, when Andrew Wildman takes over. And the stories are very poor because of a lot to do with what Hasbro was telling Marvel to do. I do not look at the original Marvel comics with rose-colored glasses. They are very low on the Transformers comics totem pole for me.
And I obviously completely disagree.
I will say I was being facetious in my no.
So what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think Daryl's objections have been well noted, that he is more of an action guy, and we have not been getting action. I would wager that there have been IDW comics that Daryl has loved.
Mm-hmm.
You liked Unicron, right?
I loved it.
Rom versus Transformers.
I love that. I love that as well. I mean,
yeah.
You've mentioned two Alex Milne books, so I mean, I'm gonna go off and say I've really enjoyed Last Stand of the Wreckers.
Yeah,
I loved the first 12 issues of both More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in Disguise. I thought those were fantastic. 24 books. I loved all 12, I think, of Till All Are One. I thought that was an amazing series.
And that actually wasn't a super heavy action book.
No, that was a lot of political drama. So there's a lot of stuff out there that I've really liked. But generally, I'm into the action stuff. No, I have no love for the original Transformers comics.
Now, I would say that Yoshi's bar is set too high for IDW to reach.
Cool.
All right, then. So we're going to finish off the show. For anyone who is still listening, thank you. And you will be the only ones that know that we are starting a new contest. It's our 6th anniversary contest. And what you got to do is you got to enter via www.transmissionspodcast.com/6 years. 6 is spelled with a number. So you can use that to enter. When you hit that link, it'll take you to a Google Doc where you can fill out the doc and let us know who you are and what your email address is. We're only going to use the email address to notify you if you won. We really don't collect that information. It's too much work. So what do you got to do on this Google Doc is you're going to have to share a favorite moment that you've had listening to the show. Our show, not Transmission, or not Transformers, just Transmissions podcast. So something that you've listened to us do, or interviews or something like that. And if you can pinpoint that and let us know what exactly it was, that'd be great. You can't just say, I like it when you talk about Transformers. That's good. A little bit more specific, though.
Yeah, we want like a specific thing, specific guest, just more detail.
And we're going to have submissions completed by October 27th so that we can have the winner announced shortly after that. So that's it. Jeremy, you want to add anything else to that?
Well, maybe announce what they're going to win.
Oh, maybe. You want to tell them? I forgot.
Yeah, sure. Grand prize is the Decepticon Respective Prime LP, which is the purple one that's apparently more popular. Respective Prime Constructed Cold EP that is on CD, and that is thanks to Jimmers and Distortion Productions. One Transmissions t-shirt from our store of the winner's choosing, and that would be we work with you and you tell us what you want, what size, and we will ship it directly. And then runner-ups, we'll have a few runner-ups, and they will all get the Constructed Cold EP.
Awesome. All right, so get those submissions in, and we'll have a winner announced shortly after the 27th. All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Transmissions. Thank you all for listening, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions Podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
And what are we reviewing? Oh, well, there's the quick on the old button.